I have in front of me here 24 normal lenses from 50 millimeters up to 58 millimeters. And I will be testing these lenses in the coming weeks on Mondays. But I'm going to be doing this a little bit differently than I normally would. What I have done, I have separated these lenses into two groups. Group 1 on my left, Group 2 on my right. There are 12 lenses in each group, and I'm going to be doing this kind of like March Madness, kind of like the NCAA basketball tournament. It's going to be a lens tournament. So what I have done, based on my previous experience with all of these lenses, I have seated them from 1 through 12 in each group. Okay, for example, the lens I seated number 1 is Nikon's 50 millimeter 1.4 Z-mount lens. Their newest lens, which was introduced in 2024. And number 12, seated number 12, is the Fujinon 55 millimeter 2.2. It's an M42 screw mount lens, dates from the 1960s. In group 2, seated number 1 is the Canon new FD 50 millimeter 1.4. I believe this lens dates from the late 70s. And seated number 12 is the Yashinon DS 50 millimeter 1.9, another M42 screw mount lens. And that also dates from the 1960s. So what I have here are 10 Nikon Nikors. Now I have more Nikors than any other lens, but I have been a Nikon photographer for over 50 years, so naturally I have more Nikors than anything else. There are 4 Minolta Rocors, 4 Canon lenses, 2 Pentax Takemars, 1 Helios, 1 Yashinon, as you already saw, 1 Fujinon, and there's even 1 Industar lens here. This is a Leica screw mount lens. It is a Russian lens. It was made for screw mount rangefinder cameras. So I believe this lens dates from the 70s. I'm not sure on that one. So I will be evaluating these lenses based on sharpness, bokeh, and build quality. As far as build quality, I will just be evaluating those lenses based on my experience with them. As far as the build quality, you know, some of these lenses are all metal construction. For example, this Canon FD 50 millimeter 1.4 from the early 70s. This was the lens that came out before the new FD. It's very solidly made, very heavy. And at the other extreme, we have this Fujinon, this 55 millimeter 2.2 that seems to be all plastic construction and is very light. So I will evaluate the build quality. As far as sharpness, I will be shooting each of these lenses on my Nikon Z8 using the setup you see behind me. The focus will be on the eye of this mannequin, and I have various lenses and color checkers and various other things that we will use to evaluate the sharpness of these lenses. We'll also could evaluate the color quality of each of these lenses. I will do a custom white balance for each lens. This scene is being This scene is being illuminated with 2 LED lights set to give even illumination. One of the lights is on my left, one is on my right. It's the identical lighting setup that will be used for the testing. I will, like I said, do a custom white balance, and the camera will be set for manual exposure, set on a very sturdy tripod. For the bokeh test, I have set up a room divider with some leaves, fall leaves, fake fall leaves, and some Christmas lights so we can judge bokeh. In each shot, I will have a card that will have the name of the lens. For example, this one says Canon 50mm 1.4 new FD, aperture tested, and the aperture will be written there. So you will be able to see exactly, so there will be no confusion as to which lens and which aperture is being used for each image. And all those images, both the sharpness test and the bokeh test, all those images in high-res JPEG form will be provided for download. I will set them up on an online gallery, and you will be able to access all those images, view them, and download them so you can evaluate for yourself these lenses and these images. Okay, now sharpness is important in lenses. We don't want real soft lenses, obviously, but there's more to a lens than sharpness, and some people call it character. So that's one of the reasons I'm doing the bokeh test, and the bokeh test will be done at the wider apertures of these lenses. It's not going to be done at all the apertures. And so that character is important. Hopefully we can judge that character somewhat with this setup that I have behind me. So just because the lens may be the sharpest lens doesn't mean it's the best lens. So I will be curious to see how this goes with all these lenses. So the first week, which will be next week, next Monday, the lens being tested will be the lens seated number 1, the Nikon 50 1.4Z, and it will go against the Fujinon 55mm 2.2. That same day, I'll be doing 4 lenses a day. 2 lenses from group 1, 2 lenses from group 2. So also on that first day, we will have the Canon new FD 1.4, 50mm 1.4, going against the Ashenon 50mm 1.9. And then the winner of that competition will move on. And in week 2, the lens seated number 2 in group 1, the Canon 50mm 1.4 FD, will be going against the lens seated number 11 in group 1, the Helios 44M 58mm f2, and in group 2, the lens seated number 2, the Nikkor 50mm 1.8G, which is an autofocus lens, that will be going up against the Industar 55mm 2.8, and so forth. We'll go through all these lenses until we come up with a winner. Now, I know some of you may be saying, okay, you have these Rokors and Nikkors and Canon and Takmars and so forth. What about Leica? What about Zeiss? What about Olympus? And, you know, a lot of other lenses that are available. Well, I could only test what I have. A couple of these lenses belong to my son, but all the others I own, and it would have been impossible, obviously, for me to test all the lenses, all the 50mm lenses, but I just thought, you know what, I have a lot of lenses. Let's just see how this works out. Like I said, I think it would be a fun thing to do, and we will see. So I invite your comments and your questions and your opinions on the lenses that you feel are superior to, you know, maybe any of these. Now, some of these lenses were bought new, some were bought used, but they're all in very good condition, so I don't think we have to worry about anything as far as scratches on any of these lenses or haze or any other conditions that may lessen the image quality on a particular lens. So I am looking forward to getting started with this, and this will be run every Monday. The normal time my videos are usually published at 11 a.m. And then on Wednesday, I will do unrelated videos. In fact, this Wednesday, this coming Wednesday, I will be doing a video on the Godox V1 and V1 Pro flash units, showing how they operate on the Nikon mirrorless cameras. And I'll be doing a quick comparison between the Godox and the Nikon SB910 that I have used for years. So if you have any comments or questions, please leave them in the comments below. I always try to respond to all questions and comments. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I usually come out with a new video every Monday morning at 11 a.m. and Wednesday mornings at 11 a.m. So I will talk to you soon.